It's Nicko on the mic, Milanista report. We break it down right for the culture, for the tactics, for the game. AC Milan forever repping the name. It's Nicko in the booth, bringing truth to the scene. Milanista report, freshest vibe you ever seen. When it comes to defense, ain't nobody sharper. Breaking down rules like I'm Paolo's partner. Maldini on the line, that's where it all starts. Tactical knowledge, hitting hard like street smarts. Every episode, man, is deeper than the stats. I'm dropping game plans like I'm playing with the cats. Mercenary pride, this ain't no side hustle. Analyzing plays with that mob deep muscle. From the back line to the final third press, it's all love from Milan, ain't no second guess. The Milanista report, the realest in the game. Nicko with the knowledge, always stay flame for the love of Milan. Paolo's name and lights, we the source for tactics, always taking flight. Milanista report, ain't no doubt it's the best. We breaking down the system, every move we assess. From the defensive grind to the team's attack, Nicko got your back with that Rossoneri tag. No, it's deeper than just watching the goals and the hype. We study every battle, the defensive type. From Maldini to Baresi, I break down the flow. Nicko in the cut, giving y'all the real show. This podcast ain't a game, it's a masterclass. Peep the backline setups, every tackle, every pass. Other pods just talk, but they miss the details. We focus on the struggle where the legends prevail. Talking Paolo Maldini, the heart of the club. Ain't no faking the passion, this love ain't a dub. I'm the voice of the fans, for the love of the crest. They see Milan forever, we only rock with the best. With Milanista report, the realest in the game. Nicko with the knowledge, always stay flame for the love of Milan. Paolo's name and lights, we the source for tactics, always taking flight. Milanista report, ain't no doubt it's the best. We breaking down the system, every move we assess. From the defensive grind to the team's attack, Nicko got your back with that Rossoneri tag. Other pods, nah, they just scratching the surface. Nicko go deep, showing y'all the purpose. AC Milan ain't just about winning the race, it's about structure, unity, and defensive grace. So tune in, get schooled by the best in the game. Milanista report, steady rising in fame. Nicko repping hard for the red and the black. Paolo's spirit lives on and we never look back. Milanista report, a voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, a voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, 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 the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw.
What's up, Milan Nation? What's going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Forza Milan. What a fucking game yesterday. What a beautiful game. I mean, listen, I know it's a one game. Let's not get too overhyped, right? But we beat Inter. We finally beat our cousins, those nasty snakes. Finally, after what, 6 straight defeats to them, we finally did it. All right, we'll get into the game today. We're going to get into the defensive performances, defensive player of the match, the 4-2-4, even though it's a 4-4-2 starting, yeah. But over time, the formation changed to a 4-2-4, especially when we were going out of position and when we were pressing. We were lined up in a 4-2-4. I watched the game yesterday. after my vacation. Had a nice little 3-day vacation down in this really nice place down in Yucatan, isolated place, lagoon called Bacalar. Beautiful place. This beautiful lagoon. It's fed by the cenotes. It's got alligators, little alligators, iguanas, all types of jungle, life. Awesome place. And we rented a really nice steakhouse there too, the family. I got to watch the game yesterday when I got home. And let me tell you, I watched the game super intensely, paused it, rewinded it a couple of times to see exactly what Milan was doing. All right. And overall, they played well. I mean, yeah, offensively, we missed some opportunities, but let's get into the game right now. Besides the formation change real quick, the 4-2-4, get into if it's sustainable or not. I'm going to get into some talk about our boy Leao, his performance and things that I've been hearing about him from some Milan fans, and hearing some rumors about yesterday on a pod about some Milanista one, James Reese, on the club, another Chelsea player, as a right back potentially. And then we'll take questions for our listeners. Real quick, I'm going to put the invite in the chat for anybody who wants to. I know Let's Talk Milan was asking about coming on the show next time. So let me put it in the chat here for everybody. Everybody wants to join after when in the last segment to tell me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts, ideas. We talk about Milan. It's an open forum. All right. So there's the link to the restream if anybody wants to join the pod now. But let me go through the my different segments, and then we'll get into your thoughts and anything else you want to talk about our beloved club. All right, real quick before we kick things off, as you can see, the background is finally coming together. All right, got my Milan ball that I picked up in 2022. Milan Dublin scarf that I bought online a few years ago to show my support for that big Milan fan club out there in Dublin, Ireland, and a couple other things as well, memorabilia as well, things that mean something to me over my football career. All right, so let's get recap of the game. So obviously we won 2-1. All right, let's pull it up here. Why did it? Hold on here. I get my notes. So let me go over my notes yesterday. So starting off in the game, good tackle, a minute 32 minutes in the game, right? Thuram had a good opportunity, right, early on in the game. And Gabi took a good angle on him, closed him down, forced him wide, right? Then 5 minutes into the game, we saw Morata took a shot on goal, really good shot on goal, got a corner kick, right? What I noticed was Inter was playing a man-to-man marking, right? We played zonal marking. Inter was playing a man-to-man marking on our first corner kick, right? Then finally, we open up we got our first score, right? Within let's get it. Where's the exact stats here? I have my notes. Oh, anybody who's tuning in, yeah, give me your thoughts and comments on the game as well. If you guys want to join the chat later on the last segment, please do this. The restream inviters who are in the chat, fellas. All right, Milan Nation, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, everything else that you can do to support the channel. Okay, here it is. So 10 minutes of the game. Pulisic opens up the scoring sheet. All right. Got a ton of notes here. There it is. Pulisic goal. So that goal from Pulisic. So that was where our counter press was at its best. So the ball went to Mkhitaryan, who had an awful game, by the way. I don't know if he's just beat, but in the past he's eaten us alive. And yesterday he didn't do anything. But Mkhitaryan went for the ball. Pulisic outmuscled him, right? Because that was that counter press. We got trying to get the ball back immediately in our own attacking third. He goes off on himself, Pulisic, and Pavard makes a really weak attempt, right? And matter of fact, Pavard had a really good angle. He had a step on Pulisic. Pulisic's not the fastest player in the world. He's not a track star. And Pavard, weak one-on-one tackle, didn't even try to outmuscle him, try to, fend him off using his arm. You see defenders doing in the box, right? Especially when they're one-on-one situations with another player. And Pulisic goes in, gets past Pavard, scores a goal, 1-0 Milan. Really good start. All right. Really good start. Then 14:30 mark, Lautaro takes a shot on goal. Good man marked by Tomori, right? Doesn't give him a clean angle. Even though he got the shot off, Tomori was there. Tomori had a decent game. He had a solid game. All right. Then 15:48, this is just some highlights. Nice physical slide tackle by Gabi, who had, for me, he was the best player on the field for us, defensively anyways. Gabi did a really good job on Lautaro again, taking the ball, possessing the ball from Lautaro. Lautaro was a ghost. Lautaro had a tough game yesterday. The majority of the game, he was marked by Gabi. Like that, the play before, Tomori was on him, but majority of the time, we had Gabi on him, and Gabi shut him down, time and time again. Really good defensive IQ, defensive awareness by Gabi in this game. Or things you want to see from a center back. Things that Pavlic still does not have. Eventually he will, if he wants to, if he continues working on his game. But right now, Gabi is has the highest defensive IQ of our back four. Right? 17 minutes, 17:40 mark. Theo, nice interception. Theo had a good game defensively as well on that left side, shutting down Dumfries, right? And he starts to counter Theo. So really good start to this game defensively from us. Really good game. 21 minutes into the game. Again, good defensive awareness by Gabi, right? Because of the cutback pass to Ram. But he's able to break up that play. Right? Good. He was able to scan the field, Gabi, and anticipate where that ball was going on that cutback pass to Ram and cuts it off. Right? 22:30 mark. Good Fofana. He stops Lautaro. Right? Really good, decent job of Fofana out there in the midfield, backtracking, and starts to counterattack. Good awareness by Fofana. Fofana actually had a pretty decent game, his best game so far for Milan, right? He's still not that ball recovering midfielder that we want, but he backtracked time and time again, helping out the back four. So kudos to Fofana for stepping up against Inter. Yeah, Inter looked beat. They looked worn out. They didn't have the same intensity as us, but that's no excuses. All right, I don't want to hear Inter fans saying, "Oh, we didn't play our game." Listen, that's on your team for not showing up. We showed up, right? You guys didn't. End of story. I don't want to hear excuses that we were tired, that we weren't ready. None of that. Because we had a tough game as well in our Champions League game. Now we finally get into the Inter goal. All right. That was by DeMarco. So on that play, the first thing that went wrong in that play, if you notice, when Inter was building up, Leao again was caught walking. I had to watch the play again. So I couldn't believe my own fucking eyes. I couldn't believe it. But Leao again and again and again. For whatever reason, he slacked off in the play. Barella was on his side of the field, where he's supposed to be setting up to press, to slow down the opponent from building up. And he didn't do that. He was sitting in front of the top of the 18-yard box. Yeah, for whatever reason, I have no idea. The ball goes out to Barella. Barella takes a touch, sends it, switches it across the field to DeMarco on the attacking third, moves it up the field. Right, he plays it to the middle of the field, thinks it's to Lautaro. Right, and Pulisic is there, and then Gabi is there as well doing his job. Gabi's in front of him. He forces Lautaro to cut the ball in. Right, and for whatever reason as well, I don't know what. This is basic defending 101, right? Emerson Royale, low defensive IQ, things that he picked up, bad habits playing in the EPL. He decides to come over and triple team Lautaro on top of the box. No need to. You have two players on him. Anybody who's played the game, anybody who's coached the game, anybody who's watched the game long enough understands you don't do this. All right? There's no reason to have a 1v3. There's already 1v2. We have the advantage. He comes over, and then Lautaro sees him. He scans the field, sends a pass, a through ball, splits the defenders, and DeMarco takes a touch, bang, hits the wide post, the far post. Right? Low shot, something that's extremely difficult. And in Mike's defense, Mike closed off the near post. That's what you're supposed to do, is keep yourself supposed to come out, make yourself big, imposing, and close down that near post. And then obviously the far post is open. And it's 1-1. Now I'm a little worried at this point, because I'm seeing some holes in our defense. I'm seeing Leao being lazy on the press, even though Abraham did a really good job pressing, really good job. He did it, and all the other players were making up for Leao's lack of pressing. Like I said, if you want to press effectively for the majority of the game, we did press okay overall. Our man-to-man pressing wasn't awful, but at the same time, Inter didn't do a great job building up through their midfield, right? And their long balls didn't work either. They were really ineffective. They didn't have that quality like they usually have. But in order for a press to work, you need everybody to press. And in this case, Leao, again, did not press. That's a continuing issue going into the season. All right? Because we're pressing 4-2-4, man-to-man. And then when we were dropping back in our own defensive third half, we were in that 4-2-4 as well. But again, I got a little worried at this point, thinking, oh shit, here we go. And just going to score another goal, either at the beginning of the half, the second half, and we're going to lose this game. So going into the second half, all right. Another good play by Gabi as well. Again, 61 minutes. Makes a really good slide tackle to depossess DeMarco, right? Inside the box. That was one of the best plays because that was not an easy play to make. As a matter of fact, but Gabi had to make up some space on that, all right? Because he was more centrally located, but he's able to, like, again, you're supposed to, a good player scans the field, is constantly scanning the field. And that's what he did. He scanned the fields, make sure to see if any other players were around him. They should be picking up. Notices DeMarco's cutting in. There's a pass to DeMarco on the other side of the pitch. He comes over, he cuts him out, makes a really good slide tackle, things that a high-quality center back does. So now Gabi's looking great at this point, right? 71, 29 minutes in, 71 minutes. Lautaro, one touch, shot on goal. But again, good man marking from Gabi to contest a shot. All right, things we didn't see last season. Last season, even in the beginning of the season, the games that we lost, we were giving up a lot of high-quality shots inside the box. Right? You know, obviously, we're not contesting them. We weren't closing them out in time. But in this game, we contested almost every shot. We didn't give any high-quality shots on goal to Inter. Right? Really important stats defensively. Right? So we should be really proud of our team. All right? So, you know, it's still 1-1, 74th minutes in. Another really good read by Gabi. Right? There's a pass to Lautaro. Tomorrow was 2v1, right? With Lautaro over there and Thuram. Right? So before Gabi made that play, tomorrow was 2v1 with Thuram and Lautaro. And he was centrally located. So he was between the two players, something you need to be. That's like the perfect position as a defensive player. And you know, Gabi came and helped out. He read the play, right? Came over and helped out, and we started the counterattack, right? And then leads to a counter. Leao takes a shot on goal. Good. Summer does a good job closing out the angle on Leao. But like I said, really good stuff from our defense starting the counter. You know, from Tamora being centrally positioned between the two players, and then Gabi being aware and helping them out as well. It's really good stuff. Right. 76 minutes in, one touch pass to Tijani, to Abraham. Abraham should have scored. Right. Goes wide post, far post. Tijani had a good game as well, really good game. And then the Gabi goal comes in. So the Gabi goal, really good, really nice. Comes over from a free kick to Johnny, lines it up, perfect weight, perfect pace. You know, Gabi came in, free man on a contested header, lines it up, hits that wide post. Really difficult save for Summer to make. All right, a lot of pace on that header. So now we're up 2-1. And I was so happy for Gabi being, you know, one of our few Milan products from the youth academy in the squad that starts, scored a goal. Gabi, yes, love you, Gabi, for that. All right, because a lot of us, there's been a faction of Milanisti really quick that have been praising Gabi since he came back from Villarreal, and saying he's our most consistent center back. But then there's obviously other Milanisti. No, fair enough that think Chow is better. But where's Chow now? And then when Pavlovic came in during the summer, he was given that starting position, right? And that's what the coach saw. But myself, we're on the Gabi train, kept saying Gabi is our best player. Gabi is the best center back, not our best player. He's the most consistent, most stable. has the highest defensive IQ, reads the game really well, anticipates where the ball is going most of the time, can anticipate where the opponent's going to be, and he should be starting. All right, I know it's a long season. He should be starting majority of the games either next to Tomori or Pavlovic, because Pavlovic and Tomori have similar profiles. They're similar players. Okay, except for Pavlovic, he's stronger in the air, obviously, but they both make reckless challenges, both of them, Tomori and Pavlovic. Something Chow is known to do that as well. So you need somebody who's there more stable and to be able to be more composed in the back line. And that's what Gabbia gives you. All right, so 95 minutes in the game. We're going to get into defensive performance really quick in a minute. But so DeMarco, he got dangerous. He did. So he's 1v1 versus Emerson on that left side. Emerson takes a bad angle. He's not positioned well. His footing is terrible. His positioning. Because just think, like, as a boxer, you're supposed to be positioned like a boxer. You know, one foot in front of the other, balanced. You know, so you don't get nutmegged and shit like that. But Emerson comes out to DeMarco with, you know, his in a really bad position defensively, which gives the opportunity for DeMarco to do a sombrero on him. And he gets it. He gets it off, embarrasses Emerson Royale. Excuse me, guys. And luckily for him, Fofana was backtracking again. So again, Fofana saved Emerson's butt from getting embarrassed with DeMarco coming in, taking a shot on goal or crossing the ball in and giving Inter an opportunity to even up the score. But Fofana cuts in, he slows down DeMarco enough, and he was able to run. Gabi was able to cut in and cut off the play, closed out that play down. Exactly, just shut it down. All right, so props to Fofana on that and Gabi for doing their job and helping out Royale, because the Royale took a very bad position on that play. All right, you have to have the proper footing, the proper stance as a defender, not to get embarrassed like that, and the proper space in between you and your attacking your opponent. He didn't do that, and that's the house. DeMarco was able to get that sombrero off. Things, a move that Neymar is known to do as well. All right, that's Neymar's move. All right, so game's over. Matter of fact, you know, last couple minutes, closing minutes, Okafor had a good chance to make it 3-1. And he was just way off. He shot the ball to the fucking fourth deck. But that is our game. All right, so let's get into some stats before we get into, like, dive into the defensive performances overall. All right. So big chances, we had 6. They had 2. Total shots 16. In Milan 13. Inter. They had 13 fouls. We had 4. They had 504 passes. We had 398. Tackles 11-10. Inter to us. We had 13 free kicks. They had 4. They had 4 yellows. We had 1. Shots on target, we had 8. They had 4. Really good performance there. Shots off target, we had 5. They had 4. Block shots 3-5. Us. Shots inside the box, we had 13. They had 9. Shots outside the box, they had 4. We had 3. So accurate passes, they had 448. We had 338. Final third entries, they had 49. We had 32. Like I said, a lot of those final third entries, we were cutting them off. Gabbia, Fofana. Even though we weren't recovering those balls like Fofana should be doing, something that Kessie was really good at, and Tonali. That's one thing Fofana needs to improve on. Maybe he doesn't have the ability, but, you know, That's something we're missing right now from our midfield. Duels, really, let's get into defensive stats. We won 58%. They only won 42. Really good number there. They possessed 7 times. We got these possessed 5 ground duels. We won 65 of them. Really good number. They won 35. So those numbers right there tell you a big part of this game, or the reason why we won the game. Winning the ground duels, really important number. Aerial duels, they won 56. We won 44. Dribbles, 60. They had 50. And tackles won. We won 70% of our tackles. They won 64. And we had 10 interceptions. They had 7. Recoveries, 38. Us, 35. Inter. All right. And then goals. Goalkeeper saves 3 for Mike, 6 for Summer. Big saves 1-1. Goal kicks, whatever, 9-5. Us. All right. And there's your game. So really good stuff by us. Excellent game. But let's get into the defensive performance, and then when you get into the 4-2-4, why, in my opinion, it's not sustainable long term. All right. So in my last pod, the one I broke down before my vacation, the pregame, I said there was a couple things that Milan needed to do to be successful in this game, to be able to compete or even have a chance to win. One was countering, the counter press, are able to high press effectively, win 50-50 balls, mix up our set piece defending, because, playing the same thing over and over again, the other team's going to find you out, like Liverpool did, right? And recovering, right, helping out. So we did most of those things, those key things that we needed to do that I called out in my last pod. We will do. Our marking on set pieces was good. We mixed it up between a zonal marking and man-to-man. So, in this case, Fonseca, props to him and to his staff for putting that into place, right? So that worked, obviously, because they didn't score any set piece goals. All right. And they got some big boys out there as well. But that mixture of zonal marking and man marking did the job. All right. Our counter press for the majority of the game was decent, especially from Pulisic on that first goal. To be able to win that ball from Mkhitaryan and then, getting past Bavard. But other than that, our counter press was okay. It wasn't great, but like I said, it really didn't need it, because most of the time Inter was trying to play over the top, right? They weren't playing through the midfield like they usually do. All right, the midfielders were off. Maybe they couldn't find those spaces, those openings. And also another important thing we did was our pivotal spacing. So this is really important. So our rest defense was really good as well. All right, that's when we're in the attack, our defense behind the ball, how we're set up. So the pivotal space is the space between your team's backline and your midfielders, right? So we manage that pretty well. That's the spacing between our midfield and our backline. And a lot of teams where we get countered, we don't manage that pivotal spacing very well. All right, there's that midfield and our backline's way too much. They're too disconnected. All right, and that's how we get hit on these counters early on from these teams, like from Parma, from Torino, even from Liverpool as well. But in this game, we managed that pretty well, that pivotal spacing, right? So, and most of that props to Fofana as well for managing that pivotal space, because he was the upholding midfielder for us in this game. So, besides that, our press was okay, being that Abraham worked really hard, Morata too, making up for what Leao wasn't doing. But our The time that our press didn't work well, they were able to get the ball up the field, the outside with Barella, and that's how they were able to set up that first goal. So we need to improve on that going forward, because not every team is going to come out lackluster like Inter did. All right. But like I said, the things that I just mentioned in my last podcast, we'll be able to do most of those things. It's the 50-50 balls. We still need to work on getting those recovery balls from midfielders. That's something that needs to be addressed. But most of these things that I talked about, we did it. And we were able to win this game. All right. And let's check the chat really quick and see what's happening. Jose B, thanks for tuning in, Jose. I'll get into the chat in a minute. I'll get into everybody's chat. All right. And some questions from our listeners. Like I said, if anybody wants to join, the invite link is in the chat. Everybody wants to join. Let's Talk Milan, if you're in here, hop in. All right. So let's get into the 4-2-4. There we go. So this is the first time we saw this formation. It was lined up as a 4-4-2 originally, but over time it formed into a 4-2-4. Because like I said, formations changes over time, right? They're dynamic. They're not static. So quick thing about the 4-2-4. So this kind of give you some background. This was used by the Brazilian national team. This is an old formation for attacking prowess. This is when you want to score goals. This was played by the Brazilian national team during the 50s and 60s. So if you want to compare those teams, because they were a great team with Pele and those guys, to Milan, we don't have the players for that, right? At all. And the important thing about the 4-2-4 besides this is your midfielders, Fofana, in this case, Fofana and Reindeer's. Reindeer's defensive game is still off. And lucky for us, Inter didn't expose that in this game. It didn't hurt us. But both those midfielders, just like any other double pivot, it's important that they both midfielders are offensively good, strong, and defensively as well. Fofana was good defensively. He backtracked again and again, closed it down, slowing down play, helping out. Those things that I mentioned before. But Tijani didn't do much defensively. He did well, once he got the ball, and he was cutting through the lines and creating havoc for on Inter's back line. Their team their main job is to protect the back line, to break up plays and stop the counter. Fofana did that, but Tijani, his partner, did not at all. All right. And so overall, this formation, I don't see it working. Just like the 4-2-3-1, where we have it's a double pivot formation. It's not going to work long term. It worked against Inter, but this formation, like you need high level technical ability between your players. We only have a few really high technical players on this field on the team. We have Theo, we have Tijani, we have Pulisic. Fofana's not technically strong. He's all right. Pavic is not technically strong with the ball. Tamar's not. Gabbia is. He's their best technical player, center back. Royale is not. Even on that cross he got off, he slipped. I mean, the guy just can't do anything right. But long term, this is not the solution. So it might have worked today against Inter over the weekend in this derby, and we got that win. Like I said, let's not get too hyped up, because let's see what our team does going forward. We'll use this win to springboard and rack off 2, 3, 4 wins in a row, right, and get back on top of Serie A, that Campionato, overtake Torino, or are we going to get back to our losing ways? We'll see. All right, and let's get into, well, I got into this one. Almost missed this one. My defensive player of the match. So this was kind of, I was going back and forth on this one really quick. Who I wanted to pick my defensive player of the match. Royale, definitely not. He was awful. I don't care what anybody says. He got fucking sombreroed. He took a bad defensive stance on DeMarco. DeMarco's not, he's all right. He's not a bad left back, but he's not some Brazilian superstar, right? He shouldn't have been able to pull up that sombrero on Emerson, but Emerson is Emerson. He's got poor defensive skills because he played in the EPL way too long. He can't even be on the, crack the starting 11 or being a sub on a mediocre Brazilian national team. All right, that tells you everything you need to know about the guy. He's a fake Brazilian, AI Brazilian, just like Messias was for us. But defensive player of the match, I was going to go with Theo for a minute during the game. He played pretty well. But I have to give it to Matteo Gabbia, our homegrown Italian core. Our boy Gabbia, defensive player of the match. All right. There he is. Now, going forward, I hope Fonseca realizes how important Gabbia is to this team, knowing that he knows what it is to bleed red and black, because he's been in the system for so long. He's been a Milanista. He came through the ranks, the youth academy. This kid should be playing almost every single game going forward, either paired up with Tomori or Pavlovic, one or the other. All right, so let's get into some Liao and James Reese talk. So I heard on Twitter and a few other podcasts, they were talking about Liao, that we shouldn't expect anything more from him. This is who the player that he is. But I disagree 100 million%. And I'll tell you why. His attitude, first of all, sucks. He wore it in the number 10 jersey. You want to be like Ronaldo, like the great Portuguese players that came before you. And this is how you act. You sob, you slack off the ball, you don't defend. Does he have the most highly technical player on our team? Bar none. And also his shooting is atrocious. These things like that can be improved. Great players who want to be stars, that want to take their games to the next level. Any player stays longer at training sessions, stays an extra hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. All the greatest players throughout any sport, throughout the NFL, like Jerry Rice, Tom Brady, in the NBA, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron. Giannis from Giannis over there from the Bucks, our fellow Greek guy. They stay longer in practice. They work on their shooting. Those players, again and again and again. This is something Liao should be doing. He shouldn't be forced by his coaches, because Fonseca doesn't have that relationship, doesn't have that, resume to do that to him, I think, or the confidence, but he has to take it upon himself and say, hey, my shooting needs to be improved. It sucks right now. I want to be more clinical and be able to test the goalkeeper more and score goals more. I want to be the best Portuguese player ever, best Milan player ever. Stay and practice longer. Work on your shots. All right. His defensive game may not never improve because maybe that's who he is. But you can work on being much more clinical, much more dangerous, offensive player, Leao. That's what great players do. So I don't want to hear this is the player that we have. We shouldn't expect anything more. That's a bunch of bullshit. Now, James Reese. I heard this yesterday in a pod too, in the chat. I don't know if they were just having fun in the chat, but I had some tweets as well. So about what do we get James Reese from Chelsea? Let's get another Chelsea reject. Look, like the majority of EPL defenders, the EPL for one is not a very technical league, or very tactical league either, I should say. McKennie said it too when he came over to Juve. He said in an interview that when he was playing in the EPL, you run around like a headless chicken because it's based on speed. And you see that if you watch an EPL game, it's speed, speed, speed. Counter, 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 counter. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Majority of the games. In Serie A, it's very different. There's a lot more tactics involved. There's a lot more layers to the team's games. They add more layers to their schemes. And you got to be more precise. You have to think more on the field. You just can't run around like a headless chicken in Serie A because that's not going to work. Because teams are going to figure out. So somebody like James Reese, who's a speed merchant, he's an extremely athletic player. Right? For the EPL, he's a decent defender, but in Serie A, just like Emerson Royal, he's not going to cut it out. Because speed isn't going to get you so far. You can't depend on your speed to just defend. You need to be positionally in a good position. You need to read the game, have a good defensive IQ, anticipate where the ball is going, anticipate where your opponent is going to be, things like that. And James Reese doesn't have that. Would he be an upgrade over Royale? Sure, because he would offer more offensively. But defensively, he's not going to cut it out. So let's just stop with this James Reese talk or any other EPL defender. I don't want any more EPL defenders on my squad. If you want to go with a Spanish defender, if you want to go with Italian defenders, which I prefer, let's do that. All right. We have plenty of good, Italian defenders that we can bring on as right back. Kid Coyote from Fiorentina that we've talked about since the beginning of the summer, even last season as well. Played out myself and a few of my co-hosts, like especially Nathan. Bring him while he's still affordable. Before they increase his price, and Fiorentina's worth 40 mil. All right. That's it. That's, if it's going to go with an upgrade, let's go with a real upgrade. No more EPL defenders. All right. So let's get into questions from our listeners. Or just the chats. Let's go. Jose B was the most active one. Jose, again, thanks for tuning in, locking into the show. Yeah, Gabi was a beast in the game from all side tackles and the goal excellently played in the match. Gabi's skills is in the match. How aggressive and calculated he played is what I want Pavlovich to eventually mold his game style to. With his own flair and aggression is excellent. Yeah, I think. Listen, Jose, I think if he keep getting paired off with Gabia, and Pavlovich is open to improve his game, to stay longer, to ask questions to Gabia, right? Just you know, get as much information as you can from your teammate. Watch what he does in training, how he prepares himself. That would really benefit Pavlovich. And I want to see Pavlovich succeed. All right. He's relatively still a young kid. He's 22, 23. He's a physically imposing player, obviously. He needs to tone it down a bit. Over time, he's got to be able to control that part of that wild side, that reckless side of his game. Because if not, he's going to turn into what Chow is. But Chow is on a different level. And I don't want to see Pavlovich go down that road. Right? Because we all had big things and we all wanted Chow to be successful for us, but he didn't turn out to be that player. Right? Especially from last season, all the mistakes that he made. Just mental mistakes, and had nothing to do with his injuries. Mentally, he was not prepared. So yeah, I want to see Pavlovich paired up with Gabia more. I hope Pavlovich stays in training a lot longer, stays those extra hours to improve his game. Maybe even reach out to Barisi. I know Barisi is open to getting questions asked from the players. But if that's possible, bring Barisi to one of the training sessions. So the defenders like Pavlovich, Gabia, Tamori, could just, you have a GOAT right there, one of the top 2 center backs ever played the game. All right? Ask him, get advice from him, ask him, because Baresi was not the most athletic player. He didn't rely on his speed, his size. He was an extremely high level defensive IQ. Excellent decision by Fonseca, just like Gabi or Pavlovich. That slide tackle could have been a PK if it was Pavlovich doing this Christmas. Yeah, hell yeah. That takes the timing on that slide tackle that I just talked about earlier today. Was something else, something we've seen on highlights from Nesta, Maldini, and all the other great defenders. And there he is. Let's talk Milan. Tuning in. Thanks, bro. Listen, if you want to hop on, let's talk. The invites in the chat. I'll stick around for a few more minutes so you can get your thoughts on today's match. If you want to tune in, if you want to join the chat, the pod, I should say, please do. Yeah, satisfaction. Like I said, when they tied up the game 1-1, I was concerned. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if we were gonna concede another goal in the second half or what. But our boys, held up their own. Everybody did their job defensively. Most of the players, anyways. All right, because Inter did have a couple of chances, but we just kept shutting them down. So you want to join the chat? Let's talk Milan. The invite, the link is in I left it earlier in the chat. I'll share it again real quick. All right, there it is. – Work break. All right. Yeah, definitely. I'll probably be on. I think we're playing Friday, huh? I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do a pregame. I know John. I think John Husney. I don't know if John's gonna do it, but definitely Shane, my co-host Shane and Husney. They think they're doing a pregame or a post-game show as well today at 3 p.m. UK time. But it's probably get into the game coming up on Friday as well. Yeah, anytime. The invite's out there. I'll going forward. Everybody in the chat. I'll be putting the link to the stream in the chat if anybody wants to join. All right, get your thoughts. Just be, if you're an Inter fan or some other fan getting on the show trying to talk shit, or I'm gonna block you immediately. You're getting kicked out. So just be respectful. If you're another fan, if you're an Interista, Juventini, Romanista, but all Milan fans are welcome to join anytime. All right, and have your speak your mind. All right, Milan Nation. All right, let's just quick thing. I'm gonna get off in a few minutes, but if anybody has any questions, let's see what time you think you'll be live again. So best time for me, I try to do these shows early now. I'm based on Central Time, so right now it's 7:30 my time, so it's 8:30 EST. I usually hop on 6:30 in the morning. My wife's still asleep, my kid's still asleep. It's quiet, so this is the best time. Night times are tough. It's probably late for you too out there in what part of Europe you're from. But usually I'm usually doing these shows in the morning now. Obviously, if it's a post-game show, if it's a weekend game, Saturday game, it'll be directly after whatever the game ends after that. Immediately after like 30, 40 minutes after the game. I guess we're playing this Friday. All right, let me check the schedule real quick. What are we playing? I think it's Friday. I'm still I'm still in vacation mode. Yeah, we're playing on the 27th. There it is. That's a Friday game. Friday games suck. We're playing Lecce. We're playing Lecce during the day on Friday. I work too. I work from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. EST. Well, my time, I should say. Central Time. Yeah, listen, we should beat Lecce. I don't see why we should be able to do this. Let's see Lecce's last game real quick. So Lecce. They're playing to the game against Oswaldo. What's their formations? Yeah, listen, we should beat Lecce. I don't know what formation Fonseca is going to use. He's going to revert back to the 4-2-3-1. He's going to stick with this 4-2-4. That's what it is in Morse. It might start off as a 4-4-2, but that's just a starting point, like I've said in previous pods. But over time, that morphed into a 4-2-4. Just watch the game. If you get a chance, rewatch the game, pause the game occasionally, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so let's talk Milan Def. We'll get you on next time. Anybody else as well? You're more than free to jump on. What do you think made a difference more between Fonseca's strategy and the attitude? I think it was the attitude and the temperament of the players. I think the players really wanted this game. Inter, obviously, like I said, there's no excuses, but they were flat. I mean, it looked like how we played in previous derbies. We had zero energy, zero passion. You could tell Inter did not want to be there. They had a couple decent occasion like chances, but overall they weren't dominating. They didn't have that build up from the back they usually do. They did it once or twice. But they weren't consistent. They were soft. Mkhitaryan, who's killed us in the past, was non-existent, a non-factor in that game. I wasn't really impressed by them. Hakan Kakakonolu, he didn't have a great game, Hakan. And I think it came down to our players wanting the game more. We wanted to win this game more. We wanted not to get embarrassed for the 7th time in a row. But I said, let's see how we go forward after this game. Will Fonseca continues in his formation. Like I said before, this 4-2-4 is a very offensive formation. Your midfield leaves very weak because you're still depending on that double pivot, you need those two midfielders to be defensively strong. And Tijani's not defensively strong. Fofana, even though this last game he had a good game, is he able to be more consistent throughout the season in a double pivot? I don't know. Yeah, definitely. Listen, good example. Let's talking about mental strength and like being a team, a unit. The 04 Euros. All right, well, Greece went in. I read this book I'm reading right now. I'm halfway through it, and the national coach, Greek national coach, right, Otto, the German coach, wasn't very strong on tactics. He wasn't a very tactical coach. He was strong defensive tactics, all right. But offensively, he gave his players the freedom to do what they want. As long as they were doing it right. If they were making mistakes, he would give them instructions, right? But for the majority of those games in those Euros, where they beat Portugal, not once, twice in Portugal, right? With Figo and those guys and a young Ronaldo. It wasn't tactics that won that tournament for Greece. It was their courage, commitment, mental strength, the wanting to play for each other, wanting to play for their country, not wanting to embarrass the country themselves, especially the country since after the 94 disaster in the United States, because that was still in the back of their heads. Greece was embarrassed in 94. And they didn't want that again. So, in this case, so tactics are good. It's great to have tactics. But you can have the best tactics in the world. You need to be the most tactically strong coach, but your players are not willing to fight, not wanting to bleed, not wanting to defend for each other, not to commit and make strong challenges, slide tackles, those little things that make a difference in a game. It doesn't make a difference at all. Dude, Abraham has been the best signing so far. I hope I know he's on I hope we sign him permanently. He's much better than Jovic. Jovic, I don't want to see him on the pitch again. Never again. If we can get Abraham and Morata working together, even single striker or duo long term, we can't use them both at the same time every single game. It's going to wear them out. All right, then we're left to depend on Jokic again. We can't do that. But yeah, especially on the press, he was just extremely aggressive out there. And on the ball, to hold up ball, he's got a similar style to our boy Giroud when he played. He holds up the ball pretty well, much better than Morata. Different profile than Morata, obviously. And he's just a really dangerous player. He has good passing ability, sees players, sees openings. I like him. So yeah, I think going forward, he's going to be important for us in this season, for sure. All right, everybody in the chat. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna head off. I got work in, what time is it? 7:30. Oh, about an hour and a half. I'm gonna get ready, get myself another cup of coffee, and get ready. But listen, everybody that's tuned in, that locked in today's shows, thank you again, Milan Nation. All right, enjoy this win. But I said, let's not get too overhyped about it, because how we're going to go forward. That's the most important thing. Are we able to continue this little winning streak and knock off a couple of wins in a row, 3-4 wins, continue playing well defensively, especially for Fana, something we need to look forward to. Will Fonseca continue playing? Gabi, will he reward him for this performance? Or is going to revert back to Pavlovic and Tomori again, which is a mistake. Because, like I said, they're the same profile, right? Same type of defenders. Let's see. So let's see if Tijani continue playing well and Abraham contributing and things like that. Right? Because we got to, that's a difficult game on Friday. Lecce is not a very strong team, but a dangerous team, because they're going to sit back a little bit more. They might be playing in a mid-block that we've seen against previous teams play against it. Like Parma played a really good mid-block, and we couldn't break that down. He doesn't counter. So, let's see if we can continue to manage that pivotal space between our midfielders and our back line on that rest defense well to prevent those counterattacks. But who else joined in? All right, let's talk Milan. Take care. Forza Milan. Oh, Chris just popped in. MVP, 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 MVP. Forza Soccer, bro. All right. With that being said, again, everybody that's tuned in today, don't forget to hit subscribe, like button, watch our previous shows, and I think our boys, Shane and Husney, maybe John, my other co-hosts from the Milanista 360 show, will be going on today at 3 p.m. UK time, I believe, today. Yeah, he better start Gapia. His head's gonna be on a spike. Yeah, if he benched him again, I don't know. Fonseca's lost his damn mind. It's just getting insane in the brain. All right, with that being said, thanks everyone. Appreciate the support, love, and Forza Milan Nation. All right, with that being said, stay tuned in for the next couple minutes, because I'll be closing this show out with this track right here.
We fight to the end. Forza, Rada, venture when the champions ascend.
Later, fellas. Take care.
We hold it down.
Forza Milan. All right.
Mercenary in the blood, we run this town. Yo, it's red and black, the warriors strike back. From San Siro Knights to the frontline attack. With Maldini's ghosts, we defend like a wall in the streets and the stands we live. mission. 7 on our chest, history in the air. When we step on the field, no opponent can compare. It's glory we seek, trophies we stack. Rossoneri forever, we never look back. Ale, Milan, Ale, we fight to the end. Forza, Lada, Vinci, we're the champions ascend. From the curve to the pitch, we hold it down. Rossoneri in the blood, we run this town. Yo, in the heart of the city, where legends are born. Through the sweat and the blood, our colors are worn. Defenders like steel, midfield like art. In this war of football, Milan stands apart. From Shepherds Latin, kings of the game. Our passion runs deep, always chasing the flame. Yo, the curve is still chance, the whole world listens. AC Milan shines bright with ambition and vision. We rise through the struggle, we rise to the win. Rossoneri till the grave, let the dynasty begin. Ale, Milan, Ale, we fight to the end. Forza, Lada, Vinci, we're the champions ascend. From the curve to the pitch, we hold it down. Rossoneri in the blood, we run this town. In the heart of the city, where legends are born. Through the sweat and the blood, our colors are worn. Defenders like steel, midfield like art. In this war of football, Milan stands apart. From Shepherds Latin, kings of the game. Our passion runs deep, always chasing the flame. Yo, the curve is still chance, the whole world listens. AC Milan shines bright with ambition and vision. We rise through the struggle, we rise to the win. Rossoneri till the grave, let the dynasty begin. Ale, Milan, Ale, we fight to the end. Forza, Lada, Vinci, we're the champions ascend. From the curve to the pitch, we hold it down. Rossoneri in the blood, we run this town.